Yo, what's going on, guys? Joey Shakenbuck is back here with another video for you guys. And guys, it is Saturday evening. I can't say Saturday night yet. And I'm going to give you my game picks for week 17 of the 2022 NFL season. Cannot believe it. It's already week 17 already. I remember week 1 picks, and all of a sudden it has just flown by. That's what happens in the NFL these days. But anyway, let's jump right into it. New Year's Day football action this year. Coming up with the first game, we have the 4-11 Cardinals at the 5-10 Falcons. So the Cardinals are obviously, I don't know if they're tanking, but they're not exactly playing with a lot of passion right now, obviously. Kyler Murray is out for the year. Hopkins has been battling some injuries. A lot of other guys have been battling some injuries. Though they're still probably playing for Cliff Kingsbury because chances are he's going to step down. Whether he gets fired or not remains to be seen, but he's likely not going to be coaching the Cardinals next year. Falcons, they may be 5-10, but they still have a slim chance of making the playoffs and winning the division. If they win out, and they're going to need a lot of help. I think if they win out and the Bucks lose out and the Saints do, or if the Bucks, Saints, and Panthers lose out, I don't even know what their matchups are. Actually, that's not possible because they're going to face each other. There's going to be division games in week 18. But if they get some help and they win out, I think they still have a slim chance of winning the division. Probably not going to happen, but the Falcons are still going to keep trying, and they know that they have a slim chance. It's in Atlanta. The Falcons are definitely a better all-around team, at least right now, but the Cardinals injured. So give me the Falcons winning this game, guys, 27-20. Next game, guys, we have the 3-12 Bears at the 7-8 Lions. So this is a must-win for the Lions. They had been cooking the past several weeks. They were hot. No one wanted to run into the Lions. But then last week, they kind of got bounced. So, I don't know. It was a little bit interesting. But yeah, they kind of got smoked last week. I forget by who, but they did not play well. It's in Detroit, which helps. It's a must-win. Again, a must-win for the Lions. They still have a slim chance to make the playoff. It's a battle between them and the Packers. I would say one of them will get the 7th seed, but I don't know. They might both miss, and another team will get the 7th seed. The Packers are 7-8 as well. So if you're a Packers fan, obviously you want to win and you need the Lions to lose. I don't know who has a tiebreaker, but my understanding is I think they play each other in week 18. So even if they both win this game, I think it's mostly just going to come down to the game in week 18. Anyways, must win for the Lions. The Bears, 3-12, but again, they're better than their record indicates for sure. They've been in a lot of close games. They did kind of get destroyed by Buffalo, but it's Buffalo to be fair. And Justin Fields he's actually had a pretty good year. He just doesn't really have a lot of help right now. I mentioned this before, I don't know if his future is in Chicago because I just don't think, I don't think they're a well-coached, well-coordinated team. So I think it might be in his best interest to want to try to get out, but we'll see. Anyways, in Detroit, the Lions are desperate for a bounce back after last week. So give me Detroit winning this game, guys, 31-17. Next game, guys, we have the 7-8 Jaguars at the 2-12-1 Texans. So, oddly enough, the Jaguars are 7-8, yet they really don't care so much about this game. Just imagine that, right? And you would think, oh, they don't care because they're already eliminated from the playoffs. Wrong. Actually, it doesn't matter if they lose this game because the Titans lost to the Cowboys on Thursday night, and so the Titans are 7-9. So the Jaguars fall here, they'll be 7-9, but currently they have the tiebreaker over the Titans because they beat them earlier this year. So really, the Jaguars can't go wrong here. If they win, obviously that's great, but they really can't go wrong here. So when it comes to tiebreakers, my understanding is, of course, first it goes head-to-head record, and I don't know if it goes divisional record or conference record next. It's really confusing. I'm not sure. But regardless, it sounds like even the Titans, despite being 7-8, they weren't at full strength. I mean, they have some actual injuries, but they were also resting some guys on Thursday night as well because they're kind of locked in. They know that regardless of what happens, week 18, the Jaguars and Titans play each other, and that's going to be for the division. So this game, there are 2 games this week really didn't matter that much. So the Titans will obviously, 7-9, and if the Jaguars win, they'll be 8-8. But then if the Titans win next week, they go to 8-8. The Jaguars automatically fall to 8-8, and then I guess the tiebreaker, one of them will get in. I don't totally know who has the tiebreaker if the Titans win. But regardless, the Jaguars, I don't know if they're resting guys, but this game really doesn't mean much to them. Nonetheless, the Texans are 2-12-1. So even if the Jaguars are resting, I think they'll be able to win this game pretty easily. The Texans are horrible and mostly just tanking for a draft pick at this point. So give me the Jaguars winning this game, guys, 24-10. Next game, guys, we have the 4-11 Broncos at the 12-3 Chiefs. So the Broncos, just an absolute disaster season for them. They are just ready to, they just want the season to end so they can put it behind them. They did, believe it or not, make a couple moves just kind of for the future. They fired Nathaniel Hackett. He didn't even make it through his first year. They moved on from him. I think they also moved on from some of their other like assistant coaches as well. So another guy within the organization is the interim head coach for now. The Chiefs, meanwhile, in full control of their destiny. However, when it comes to like being a high seed, however, they're still battling Buffalo for that top seed. So I believe it or not, the Chiefs are actually Bengals fans this week, and it sounds crazy because the Chiefs and the Bengals have become big rivals. But if the Chiefs win this week and the Bills lose, because of course the Bills and the Bengals play each other, the Chiefs will be the number 1 seed. Right now, they're both 12-3, but the Bills are the number 1 seed because they have the tiebreaker because they beat Kansas City earlier this year. So the Chiefs need to win, and they need the Bills to lose. Anyways, it's in Kansas City. The Broncos are arguably kind of tanky at this point, so the Chiefs should have no problem winning this game. Give me Kansas City winning 34-17. Next game, guys. This is finally like a really meaningful game here. We have the 8-7 Dolphins at the 7-8 Patriots. Both teams struggling mightily and in desperate need of a win, and two teams that very well could snatch that 7th seed. The Patriots are a big long shot, but they still have a shot. The Dolphins, meanwhile, have a better chance, but they really got to get their stuff together. And it's going to be a little bit difficult because they will be without Tua Tagovailoa this week. He once again suffered a concussion against Green Bay that went unnoticed until after the game. Don't ask me why. I'm going to save my, critical thoughts for after, but it's really a problem, and it's definitely been bothering me. I think that the Dolphins, training, medical staff, whatever, the doctors need to be held accountable because this is not the first time it's happened. Happened against Cincinnati. I think it may have even happened before then as well. They got to be more cautious with the guy. I understand part of it is, he's short, so he's more exposed, but it's ridiculous. And the medical staff definitely need to be held accountable. Anyway, hopefully Tagovailoa is okay, and hopefully he can come back. We'll see, though. There's a chance that he calls it quits. Anyway, it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater starting, as far as I know. The Patriots, it looked like last week they were going to get shellacked by Cincinnati. They were down 22-0, but they actually made a pretty solid comeback, and they probably would have won had Ramondre Stevenson not fumbled inside the 10-yard line. So the Patriots are still a competitive team. They're never an easy win with Belichick. It's in New England. And yeah, I'm going to get the extra New England on this one. They are desperate for a win. They did show some flash last week in the second half against Cincinnati. The Dolphins are just stone cold right now. They have been a team of streaks this year, but right now I think they've lost 4 in a row or something. They're going to be without Tagovailoa. I don't trust their defense. I don't think it's that good. So give me New England pulling this one out in a lower scoring game, 24-20. Next game, guys, we have the 4-10-1 Colts at the 8-6-1 Giants. So the Colts, obviously, they are horrible. They lost to the Chargers on Monday night. They're, again, just kind of taking the season. Their season's over. The Giants, meanwhile, hey, they've recovered, and I actually think they've had a pretty strong second half. They had a great start, but, you could argue they kind of had an easy schedule. You could argue that they were pretenders. I do think in the second half they've had more competition, and they have been dealing with it pretty well. They've beaten some good teams, and they've been playing pretty good football. 2 weeks ago, they did lose to the Vikings, but they put up a really good game. They played really well. So it's in New York as well at MetLife, which really helps. I see no reason why the Giants wouldn't lose this game. They know they need to keep ahead of the pace. The Commanders are right behind them. For now, they're ahead of them, but they need to keep winning in order for that to stay the case. And then I don't think they can catch Dallas. I think that's officially out of the question. But they still could definitely get in to be the 6 or 7 seed. So they need to stay ahead of the pace. It's in New York, as I said, so this should be a pretty easy win. Give me the Giants winning this game, guys, 27-17. Next game, guys, we had the 6-9 Saints at the 13-2 Eagles. So the Saints are actually, again, 6-9, but it's all looking up for them because they very much have a chance to win the division. I don't know if they play the Bucs again. I'm not sure if they played twice or not yet, but regardless, if they can win and the Bucs can lose, they do have a chance to win the division. Now, I'm looking at the schedule here, and the next game is the Panthers and the Bucks, so it's going to be a little bit interesting because, the Saints can cheer for the Bucks to lose, but if they lose, that means that the Panthers automatically win, so therefore they're both 7-9. Again, I don't know who plays who in Week 18, but this is going to be really, really interesting because both teams are, all three teams are really not up. Even the Falcons are in there as well, but they're pretty much out of it, but you can never say never. But the Saints just need to win, and they need the Bucks to lose, and then probably next week they need the Panthers to lose. Meanwhile, the Eagles fell to the Cowboys last week. Of course, we're without Jalen Hurts, but I still think they played a great game offensively. Gardner Minshew played pretty well. I know he did. I think he turned the ball over a couple times, but he did play pretty well. DeVonta Smith and A.J. Brown both had huge games. But I don't know, defensively, there definitely has to be some concern there. I know it's the Cowboys, but the Eagles' defense has definitely showed signs of weakness over the last several weeks, so they definitely need to get that together. I don't even know if Hurts is back. I know he returned to practice, but I don't know if he's playing in this game. With it being in Philadelphia, though, even with Gardner Minshew, I am going to take the Eagles here. I know the Saints are more desperate, but I think the Eagles are a better all-around team. Give me Philadelphia winning this game, guys, 27-24. It should be a good game, though. Next thing, guys, and as I mentioned this a couple minutes ago, we have the 6-9 Panthers at the 7-8 Buccaneers. So the Panthers, again, they're 6-9, but they very well could win the division, so they're still absolutely playing their hearts out. Bucks, meanwhile, they are the front runners for winning the division as of now, but that obviously can change. They, too, are going to be playing their hearts out. It's in Tampa Bay, which obviously helps. And the Bucks finally, their receivers can actually stay healthy for more than 2 weeks for a change. Yeah, that's just something that, people are so hard on Mike Evans, which I really don't understand, because when healthy, he's so good. The problem is, I know he's never healthy. He's almost always dealing with injuries. But I think for once, he's actually, healthy and feeling pretty good, and he's been very good this year. So, again, as I said, it's in Tampa Bay. I'm going to take the Bucks here. I know, Brady is obviously probably having his worst year. The Bucks have just generally just not been very good this year, but they're desperate. They're desperate for a win. They know they need to stay ahead of the pace, and they know that they control their own destiny. If they win out, they're in. They know that. So all they need to do is just win these next two games, and they win the division. So with that staying in the back of their minds, I definitely trust Tom Brady to win in these big games. So give me Tampa Bay winning this game, guys. 28-24. Next game, guys, we have the 6-9 Browns at the 7-1 Commanders. So the Browns officially are eliminated from the playoffs. They're still going to try, but their playoff hopes are gone. Commanders, meanwhile, they haven't been eliminated yet, as far as I know, but it's going to be an uphill battle for sure. They've lost a lot of the games that they really needed to win. We'll start with the Giants. 2 weeks ago, they really needed to beat the Giants, and they didn't. That was a big loss. It's going to be Carson Wentz at quarterback this week. I think they benched Taylor Heineke. A little bit of an interesting decision there. But with it being in Washington, the Browns obviously are out. The Commanders are desperate for a win. They're clinging to a slim hope of a playoff berth. So give me the Commanders winning this game, guys. Let's go with Washington 24-17. Next game, guys, we have the 11-4 49ers at the 6-9 Raiders. 49ers, perhaps the hottest team in football. They're just clicking on all cylinders right now. Hey, whoever it is at quarterback, whether it's Lance, whether it's Garoppolo, whether it's Brock Purdy, hey, doesn't matter, man, because they're still cooking. Of course, the Niners, I know Purdy's been okay. He hasn't been amazing, but he's got great guys around him, and the Niners' defense has been very good as well. The Raiders have officially been eliminated from the playoffs, as far as I know. And they have. And then there has been some new developments. It's pretty much been confirmed this week that Derek Carr is leaving the Raiders. He's been, I think he's been replaced. I think Jarrett Stidham is going to go in at quarterback now, so Carr's done playing, and chances are he's not coming back to the Raiders, as far as I know. Of course, the Raiders, they had a slim chance of making the playoffs, but they needed to beat Pittsburgh last week, and they couldn't do it. It's in Las Vegas, but the Raiders season is over. The Niners are cooking right now. Niners should be able to win this game pretty easily. So give me San Francisco winning this one 31-13. Next game, guys, we have the 7-8 Jets at the 7-8 Seahawks. Big game here. So the Jets are obviously cold right now. They have not been playing well at all. They got off to a really promising start, but the second half has been a train wreck. Seattle, meanwhile, kind of similar. I wouldn't call their second half a train wreck, but they were definitely better in the first half. So both teams are, not playing great football right now and need to win this game. Both teams clinging on to slim hopes of a playoff berth. It's in Seattle. I don't even know who's playing quarterback for the Jets right now. It's not. I think it's Mike White. As far as I know, he's been dealing with some injuries, but I think Mike White is back. So I don't think they're going to make Flacco quarterback too, and I think they're going to make Zach Wilson inactive again. The team just does not like Zach Wilson, man. It is crazy. So I mean, rightfully so, if you ask me. But anyways, it's in Seattle. Seahawks are desperate for a win. I know the Jets are too, but, their quarterback situation is a big-time concern. Meanwhile, the Seahawks with Geno Smith, hey, maybe he might be a little old, but he's still got it. So give me Seattle winning this game, guys, 24-21. Next game, guys, we have the 12-3 Vikings at the 7-8 Packers. Another big game here. So the Vikings, obviously 12-3. That's a little bit of a flaky record because they have been just all over the place this year. They've looked great. They've looked horrendous. They've had like the tale of two halves, of course, like against the Colts. They're a very interesting team. They're a good team. But they obviously have some weaknesses. We'll start with their defense. Their defense looks great on paper, but on the field, it really isn't. I don't know. It's just they let up a lot of big plays. I don't know. Their defense is very concerning, if you ask me. Offensively, I mean, you could argue that besides Justin Jefferson, their weapons are, okay. I mean, Thielen is good, but he's having kind of a rough year. Cook is good. He, too, though, is kind of having a down year. But Justin Jefferson, maybe you take him out of the equation, you can stop the offense, but you really can't take him out of the equation. I mean, no team has really done it yet. He's just so good. Meanwhile, the Packers 7-8, but they are cooking right now. They've been playing pretty well. Rodgers is finding his way, and the Packers are starting to play well. And they're getting hot at the right time. The question is, have they gotten hot too late? That's the big question, because they do not control their own destiny. They're still going to need some help if they want to make the playoffs. I think they need the Commanders to lose at least one more. They need to win out. Obviously, this is assuming they win out. And then they need some help. The Commanders need to lose one more, and I think there's some other things that need to fall into place as well. So it's in Green Bay, which helps. So now the Vikings have to go to Green Bay. The Vikings much better at home than on the road. So the Packers have this advantage. The Packers secondary is healthy now. I know it's been dealing with some injuries, but as far as I know, it's healthy. You got Jair Alexander back, and he's really come along this year. Darnell Savage, Adrian Amos, Russell Douglas. So the secondary is at pretty much full strength as far as I know. So that really helps to defend the Vikings receivers. I don't think they're going to take Justin Jefferson out of the equation because, again, no one has yet. As much as I'm pulling for the Packers, they're hot. I definitely think Green Bay could win this game, but I'm going to have to go with Minnesota. Justin Jefferson also destroyed the Packers the last time. I'm not sure if their offense is going to be able to keep up. The Packers defense, while they're healthier now, they still have some injuries, and they have not been playing great this year. So give me the Vikings pulling this one out in a close game, eliminating the Packers' playoff hopes, 31-27, but it should be a very good game. Next game, guys, we have the 5-10 Rams and the 9-6 Chargers. So the Rams, obviously, season is over. They're just playing for pride right now. Chargers, meanwhile, hey, Justin Herbert, congrats to him. The first time he's going to make his first playoff appearance this year. The Chargers, with their win against the Colts, on Monday, officially clinched the playoff berth. So they are in the playoffs. They're not going to rest starters though yet, because they can obviously keep fighting for a higher seed. So they are still have the pedal to the metal. It's in. Oh, actually, I was about to say it's in LA, but believe it or not, the Rams and the Chargers play in the same stadium. So this should be kind of interesting. Both teams are at home. How about that? So I guess it doesn't really matter. It's a neutral site, I guess you could say, for both teams. So it's with the Chargers, playing good football right now. They're still fighting for a higher seed. Their receivers are finally healthy. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. That receiver duo is actually really good when it's healthy. I think it's one of the more underrated duos in the league. It just hasn't been healthy. Both of them, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, have a really hard time staying on the field. But now they're on the field, and they are clicking really well, and Herbert's playing very good football right now. Chargers defense is starting to come together. They're still exploitable, but they're playing better. The Rams season, as I said, is over. So give me the Chargers winning this game, guys. 31-17. And here we go, guys. This was a flex. We have Sunday Night Football, 7-8 Steelers, the 10-5 Ravens. Of course, this game was originally going to be a 1 o'clock game, but then it got flexed to Sunday Night Football. And hey, trust me, I am not complaining. I don't know if you guys have seen, I don't know if I've said this publicly, but I am so sick of 1 o'clock games to the Ravens. We have had at least 90% of our games this year have just been random 1 o'clock games. It's really annoying. I mean, I'm sure I've revealed this as well. I'm a big 4:25 person. That's probably my favorite slot. But regardless, just give us something more exciting than a 1 o'clock game, please. And they did. So they flexed this one to Sunday night. So again, no complaints. I am a little curious on why they flexed this one though, because A, the Ravens are already in. B, the Steelers' playoff hopes are very slim. And C, no Lamar Jackson. And D, there are several other games that are in the 1 o'clock slot that absolutely should have been flexed over this. Like Panthers-Bucks could have been flexed. Vikings-Pats. I guess that's a 4:25 game already. But yeah, there were a couple other games that could have been flexed over this. But hey, I am not complaining. Anyways, so for this game, the Steelers still have a slim chance of making the playoffs. With their win over the Raiders last week, they still have a slim chance. But they do not control their own destiny. They have to win out, but they're going to need some help. My understanding is, this, with the way the time slots are working, the Steelers could actually be eliminated from the playoffs before this game even starts, because the Dolphins play the Patriots at 1, and if the Dolphins win, this is my understanding, if the Dolphins win, the Steelers are automatically eliminated from the playoffs. If the Dolphins lose, the Steelers still have a chance. So the Steelers are definitely Patriots fans tomorrow. So going into this game, if we find that the Dolphins have won, then then obviously the game, the Steelers will be eliminated, but they'll still try. Obviously, I'm not saying they won't. But if the Dolphins win, if the Dolphins lose, the Steelers still have a chance for the playoffs. Ravens, meanwhile, have already clinched a playoff berth, but we're still fighting with Cincinnati. We still have a slim chance to win that division. So the Ravens, obviously, there ain't no backing down. I know we're in the playoffs, but we're still going to keep fighting. Because if we can win this game and Cincinnati can lose, then we're neck and neck. And of course, we play each other next week. So that's going to be hopefully that's for the division title. So regardless, we really want to win this game. There's definitely no need in backing down. All the starters will be out there. And some good news and bad news. Obviously, the bad news, no Lamar Jackson still. This injury appears to be more serious than they originally thought. I definitely think part of it is they're playing it really cautiously with him, especially since we're already in the playoffs. But I don't totally agree with that. But, again, health comes first, so I trust the process. So that's the bad news. The good news is we got a lot of our guys back this week. Calais Campbell returned to practice. He's probably not going to play yet, but, to see him back at practice is very encouraging. Still no Marcus Peters, though. Hopefully he can return next week. Anyways, this game is in Baltimore. However, I don't know. I really do think part of it will have to do with whether the Dolphins win or lose tomorrow. Because, if the Steelers, they're still going to try. No question. They've had the game plan all week. It's a rivalry. You don't let your rivals beat you. But you do wonder how much of it is going to matter, because if the Steelers are already out, it's kind of whatever. But for the Ravens' sake, they still want to win to try to catch Cincinnati for the division. But regardless, I do think the Steelers are going to win this game, just because we beat them once with Tyler Huntley, but actually it was a mix of Tyler Huntley and Anthony Brown, and it was kind of lucky because we barely beat them, and the Steelers were really coming along for the comeback. And I also I think the main hope for us to win this game is if we're able to run the ball all over them like we did in the first matchup, but I kind of doubt that's going to happen. I think the Steelers' big emphasis of their game plan this week was to stop our run game, and with Tyler Huntley in, and I know Edwards and Dobbins are healthy, which really helps, but I think the Steelers will win the battle in the run game this week, so I don't think we'll be able to run the ball very well, and I do not trust Tyler Huntley to be able to throw the ball. So I think our defense will play well. I think the Steelers will put up a few points, but not that many. Again, this is going to be a low-scoring slugfest, but the Steelers will be desperate. And again, I don't trust Tyler Huntley to beat the Steelers twice. So give me the Steelers winning this game in a low-scoring one, 17-13. Okay, guys, this is our final game, Monday Night Football, perhaps saving the best for last. 12-3 Bills at the 11-4 Bengals. What a show this is going to be. So, the Bills, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to the Chiefs, they control their own destiny. If they can win out, they will be the number 1 seed because they have the tiebreaker over Kansas City. So they are obviously, despite being in the playoffs, they are not letting off the gas pedal by any means. Cincinnati, meanwhile, they control their own destiny as well. If they win out, they are AFC North champions. So both teams are going to go at full strength, and I think both teams are doing pretty well health-wise. As far as I know, there's no big injuries ahead of this game, except the Bengals. I know they lost their starting right tackle, La'el Collins, for the year. He tore his ACL, so prayers out to him for a speedy recovery. But this is going to be a show, man. I can't wait for this game. It's in Cincinnati. As a Ravens fan, I'm obviously pulling for the Bills because hopefully I want to catch Cincinnati for the division. I also don't want to play Cincinnati in the first round of the playoffs either. That's kind of an unpopular opinion, but I don't. I want to save them for later. So, anyways, I don't really know who to go with here because I think both quarterbacks are very good but known to make mistakes. Burrow and Allen both, they will put up a lot of numbers, and I think they both will have big games, but they both are prone to make some mistakes. So the question is, who is going to make more mistakes, and who is going to stay clean, and will one of the defenses, and which defense is going to make a stop? Both defenses are good, actually. The Bengals defense, is a little iffy, but it's been better the past several weeks, especially their run defense. The Bills, meanwhile, defense is very good, actually. But I don't think it's going to matter much. I think this is definitely going to be a shootout, a high-scoring game. But I got to go with the Bengals, man. They are so hot right now. The Bills are 12-3, I know, but, they have not. They have had some flaky games a little bit, and they have, shown some issues. I'm not saying the Bengals haven't, but, their issues were shown early in the season, and they really have done a nice job correcting them. The Bengals are also at home. They're, desperate to keep winning. They're hot right now. If the Niners are not the hottest team in the NFL, then it's definitely the Bengals. So give me Cincinnati pulling this one out in a shootout, 38-35. I definitely think that could be a game-winning field goal. So guys, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I am out. Have a great night. Happy New Year. Hope everyone has a happy New Year's night and is able to watch the ball drop. Appreciate you all, and I will see you either late tomorrow night or Monday with a recap on the Ravens game.